I'm actually Reece, and I'll be fighting in the August 12th semi-finals of the UFL Grand Prix.
Perfect. That will do. So how was your first experience with UFL? What was it like? Because it was a long time out of the cage for you, a long time away from competing. But I've got to say, as a man who's called a few of your fights and watched you come through, it was vintage Ashley Reece in there. What was it like to get back in there, and what was your first experience of UFL?
It was a great first experience. I had a tough opponent, a big kid for the weight class, but it was a good test that gave me a chance to show everyone what I've been working on. Been out for a while, but I've not just been idle. I've been doing stuff and trying to improve in that 3 years that I've been out.
And what was it like, being backstage again, getting ready again, and also in America? What was it like for you fighting in America? That's your first fight. I know you've done fights abroad, but that's your first fight stateside, right? What was it like fighting in America?
Fun, really fun. It was quick, to be fair. I think I got the fight on 3 weeks' notice, so everything was just 100 miles an hour. And when it's like that, it just slots into place. You don't really have time to think about anything. So it was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
That victory earned you a slot in the semi-finals on August 12th. You got a date. You also got a name. You got to stare into the eyes of your opponent as well, Jotka Duraev, which is a great opponent. It's a real stylistic matchup. What do you think of this semi-finals, and what excites you about fighting Duraev?
It's good. It's good that I've got him because he's a well-rounded opponent. He's comes from a good family of fighters as well, to be fair. His brother's in the UFC. It's a good test. He's undefeated. It's all the plus sides, I want to be the man to push him and defeat him. And then put myself a place in the final. So
and how do you see? I mean, there's not many of his fights online anymore. There used to be, but there's not so many. So I know it's hard to find footage. But what have you seen, or what when you've broken him down as an opponent? What areas do you think you're going to have the strength within the fight?
He's pretty well rounded, to be fair. I'd say he's good at everything. I think that the fight we are going to have is going to be a bit of a barn burner. I think it's going to be all over the place. I'm not the sort of person who's just going to strike with you or just grapple with you. I'm doing everything, trying to knock you out as much as I am, pick you up and slam you on your head. So I'm not really interested. If you're good at something, then I'll test that, see how good you are. If you're a striker, let's strike. And if you're a grappler, let's grapple. Let's see how good of a grappler he is.
I love it. That's where the Beast comes from. And who gave you that nickname, the Beast? Because it is evident. I know you and your beautiful family outside of the cage, and you are so humble, well-spoken, well-mannered. But there is a difference between you outside the cage and what happens to you in it. Where does that difference come, and who gave you the nickname, the Beast?
It's Adam Tay who gave me the nickname, the Beast. It's on the FCC, and I think I was quite quiet, so he said that you've got to really change your character in your fight. So he gave me that nickname, and then I sort of stuck with it. Then I didn't really have a choice. Next fight card, I was named the Beast, so everyone just started calling me it, and that was it. Then
you got to be happy with it, though, right?
Yeah.
There's some terrible nicknames out there. There's some horrible nicknames out in MMA that people have chosen themselves, but to be given the Beast and it to fit your style so well, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. I can't not be anything but try and be dominant. If you get given a nickname like that, you sort of have to, live up to your nickname.
This win over Jotka would earn you a slot in the December 16th card, which would be to fight for the first ever welterweight title for UFL. What would that mean to you, to claim a title, to claim the first title, and also a title on a US promotion?
To claim the first title on UFL would be good because it's the level of the guys that are in the tournament. Like, it's a very high level of guys, and I feel like if you get to that final and you're beating these guys, like, all of these guys are like elite level. There's no one that don't really belong in the tournament. I mean, you could have had the tournament bigger if you wanted to. And there's a few more guys that have fought on the earlier UFLs, like on UFL 1. Some of them could have been in the bracket as well. But it's good in a way, because if I do get to the final and I defeat whoever's in the final with me, then I've got matchups straight after. I know in my head, I know what people I need to call out and who's next. I'm sure the matchmakers do, but that is what it is. Like I've got that in the back of my head. Like if I win this tournament, there's other matchups already lined up. There's loads of other lads in the bracket. Even if I lose, there's lads in the bracket that I could fight. So it's exciting, really.
Speaking of the bracket, the other side of the bracket is Iniguez and Veretennikov. Sorry, I almost said his name wrong there. Again, amazing matchup. Very different to your style of fight on your side. Have you looked at those guys? And if you have, can you pick a winner out of those two, or somebody that you would prefer to fight in the final?
I'm going with Veretennikov. I think he's just the pace he puts on. But yeah, I'd like to fight him in the final just because of the pace he puts on. So I'd like to make it a really high pace fight and make it a bit of a tear up. So it'd be good, man. Look forward to it. If the other kid wins, then fair enough, I'll fight him and do whatever. I'm not really bothered regardless. I just want to fight.
The other side of this is the UFL's first year of existence, and we're doing this Grand Prix and we're crowning champions by the end of the year. We're also doing the stuff where, there's the benefits that come with it. And I know on your side, because you're outside of the US, you don't get the healthcare or the life insurance, but you do get an increase in the fee. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I've not looked into it that much because as soon as I got back, I'm straight back in camp. It's been a really fast turnaround. I've not even had a day off really. As soon as I flew home, it was like on a Monday. I was back in the gym on Tuesday. I'm like, right, let's prepare for Jocker. And that's it then. Just straight back to the All-Star.
The things you did get, though, are shares in the company. You got some shares in the UFL. Now, what does that mean to you? Not just to be a fighter in a promotion, but you now technically have a piece of that pie. Wherever it goes in the future, for however long it exists, whatever heights it reaches, you have a piece of the pie. With every fight that you fight and you get more shares. So what does it mean to you what did it mean to you to get the shares? What does that mean as a fighter to be part owner of this promotion?
It's lovely to be able to invest in yourself. Like they've given you opportunity to invest in yourself. It's up to you how much you want to invest. But like if I have 5 or 6 fights with UFL, I know every fight I can invest more and more. It's in your best interest really to stay with UFL, especially if you've got shares, which is good.
The fight as well. This is something that I find interesting with you, and I love it. Is a lot of guys, especially in these higher weight classes, as you go from all weight classes, you see it going crazy. But the advantage you can get from weight cutting with what you step back into the cage with, kilogram wise, is massive. Yet you don't cut weight. You literally. I'd love you to explain that, because it is, everybody talks about fighting, and the hardest part and the worst part, the fight before the fight, is the weight cut. Yet you're having breakfast, you're smiling, going out for runs, doing workouts, and just being you. Why do you do that, and what advantage do you think that gives you in a fight?
Well, when you're cutting weight, you're depleting yourself, and you're not. Even if you're hydrated back up, you're not really going to be 100%. If you can diet down to that and be fit and healthy, I know full well when I get into the cage, I'm going to be 100%. And I don't have I don't have any regrets. Win or lose, I know I've done my best and I've put myself in the best position to win. Whereas a lot of fighters, they'll get to I had a bad weight cut. Like you don't need to be having bad weight cuts, especially if you're traveling. If you travel halfway, if you're traveling to the US, and then you have a bad weight cut, and then you've got to fight a killer as well for 15 minutes. It's not really it's not the best recipe for success. So I'll work most on my skills and my fitness, and I know that I'm gonna be 100% when I get in there.
When you're on fight week, do you think that gives you a bit of a mental advantage as well, that you can relax the night before weigh-ins? You can, and again, I'm just trying to get it from your perspective, because it is so unique to have a fighter at your level fighting the guys you're fighting who doesn't cut weight. So do you think, it gives you, what does it give you psychologically? I'm trying to sort of ask.
One more less thing to worry about. I don't need to worry about cutting weight. The job's done. I've come into the fight and I'm ready to go. Some of these, they finish their weight cut and they look like they're lost. Some of these are lost already because they've lost to cutting the weight. So you see it in fights, they start fading. You get like after a round or so, and they're fading heavily. You just sit in their eyes, they're depleted. So yeah, I can tell some opponents when they've made big weight cuts. A bit like that last kid, he had a massive weight cut, and I could tell at the weigh-ins how much weight he'd cut. Whereas me, I don't hardly cut weight. So 2 weeks out from the fight, I'm probably on weight. So it's good. I enjoy myself. It's like a holiday with a fight at the end of it. Me and Charlie, it's lovely.
Some lads' holidays do start like that and then have a fight at the end of it anyway, but they're not usually legal fights. So
yeah, they don't get paid for it. And then, normally they end up in hospital and end up in the nick. So it's nice to go on holiday, get treated amazingly, and stay in a hotel, and then have a fight at the end of it and get paid. I'm doing what I love as well, so it's good.
Do you think, one last thing on the weight cut thing, do you think that gives you the chance of having a longer career as well? Do you think that not depleting your body the amount of times, and it is, I've seen some horrific weight cuts where people are cutting a phenomenal amount of weight in the last week, and particularly in the last 24 hours. Do you think you're elongating the potential of your career by not doing that to yourself every single fight?
Yeah, absolutely. To be fair, MMA is really a strange sport, because technically, if you think about it, for how long you're fighting for, 15 minutes, it's an endurance sport. You don't see triathletes cutting weight. That's just silly. Like you're doing an endurance event and then you're cutting weight. Like you should be on your weight. That's the way endurance sports works. I know it switches over the power side and that, but the duration of the fight, it can be up to 15 minutes. So if I know I can last 15 minutes, and I'm an advantage to everyone else, because my cardio is going to be there for 15 minutes, maybe longer. I think personally I could easily do 5-5 now. That's now. If the tournament was 5-5s every fight, then I'd be happy. Gives me more time to work. So I do longer rounds than that in the gym. So it's good, man. I enjoy it.
The other thing that was slightly different from your other fights is you didn't have your beautiful wife and cage side. She couldn't make it to this one. And what I've heard on the grapevine is that this semi-final has fallen when you've booked a holiday. So is that right?
Yeah.
Just tell us, how did you break the news? Because I know she's your number one supporter. I think she's an amazing woman, and you got a beautiful family. But how did you? Was it bittersweet for her knowing that that this holiday was now she's going on her own or with a friend rather than coming to with you?
It's with family anyway. It probably, my daughter was a little bit upset. She's only 5. She don't really understand. But I said to her, like, you can come on another holiday with Daddy after. You can go on holiday in October.
Perfect.
I'll book another holiday. She's happy now. Now that I've said we're booking another holiday, she's sort of forgot about Daddy's not going to be here now. So I've given her another reward. So it's rewarding a sort of I don't really do anything outside of fighting. So any financial gain that I do have, I like treating my family.
That's perfect. For those who've never seen you fight, say they didn't catch the quarterfinals, for those fans or UFL fans that are watching this interview and have never seen an Ashley Reece fight, what could they expect, and what will they see on August 12th when you get back in the cage?
Hard-paced fight, and I'm always pushing for the finish. But sometimes, like, you get in the fight at the start of the fight, and you're not going to keep up that pace. And then it gets to 10, 12 minutes, and you're still the same. Still keeping up the pace, and then the fight's finished. So it's going to be a very high-paced fight that a lot of people can't keep up with, but I'm going to be looking for the finish all 15 minutes. As long as I'm conscious, I'm looking for the finish.
And do you see the finish in any particular way? Any prediction for how this fight goes, or how you get your hand raised?
No, I'm just getting my hand raised. I'm not really bothered about it regardless. I know it's a tough test. He needs to worry about me as much as I need to worry about him. I've trained really hard for this fight. Every fight I train harder and harder. But I'll be fully prepared for this fight, and I know what's needed to do. I'm just focused on winning. I'm not really bothered about the finish. The finish is there, and I'll take the finish. But I'm just looking forward to fighting. I'm looking forward to August the 12th.
In combat sports, throughout time, ever since fighting has been, an internationally recognized sport, Great Britain and the US have always had this back and forth of, competition, champions, fighters. What would it mean to you, especially because you are in a bracket with some amazing fighters also from different countries. Kazakhstan, there's a Mexican American in Inguez, and of course Jotko, who is from Russia. What would it mean to you to represent Britain and get that belt wrapped around your waist after going through those types of names?
It's nice, but to be fair, like even my gym at Hammer, like it's a very multicultural gym. Some of my training partners are Russian. I've got Iranian training partners. Like there's lads from all over the place, and they're not anyone from one country. We've got loads of Welsh kids, Iranian kids, a few Algerians. Like I think there's a French kid as well. There's just people from all over the place. So it's no different. It's just like just another body to me. Like it don't mean anything more than it would beating anyone else. I just see opponents as like just silhouettes really, and that's it. But obviously, it's on a belt, and if a belt's attached to it, then it might mean a little bit more. But even me as a person, as soon as you win the belt, you've got a target on your back, so you don't really have to look for people are going to come for you. So that's exciting. I think if I win this belt, then I know I'm going to not be short of fights.
Love it.